Hello everyone! Today I want to show you 4 different ways to color your drawings. First is the most obvious one. This is probably how you're doing it already. You take maybe a larger brush and just try to stay in the lines of your line art, and just as if you were drawing or painting, you're going to color your drawing in. This one's really great for like kind of a methodic feeling, but I personally don't use this often. The next way of coloring I'm going to show you is by taking some sort of brush that has kind of a soft edge and would be good for outlining. And that's essentially what you're going to be doing. You're going to outline where you want this flat color to lay with this brush. This takes a little while, but the reason I like to use this method a lot is I get a really smooth and clean silhouette of my character underneath the line art. And sometimes I don't use line art in my full drawing, so this is a really nice way to achieve that smooth outer line on your flat color. But I will say this does take some time, and you have to kind of like this process if you want to do it, because it's a little tedious. The next way you can color in your drawing is by using the Lasso tool over here under your tool belt. I always just choose freehand. And it's kind of like the last method I was using. You're just going to use the Lasso tool to outline the area you want to lay your flat color in. And then you're going to drag the color circle into that area you just outlined and create a solid flat color. The reason I don't use this method a lot is it creates a very jagged edge when you look at your underneath flat color of your line art. And I'm not a huge fan of that because like I said, I don't use line art in my full piece sometimes. The next way you can do color is by using your line art as a reference. You're gonna click on your line art layer, pull up that side menu and click on reference. You'll then create a new layer underneath your line art layer. And this is where the magic happens. You can actually just start dragging and dropping the color into the areas you want it. However, if your line art is not fully connected, it will not fill that area. There is a little trick, like I'm doing now. You can drag and drop and hold down and lower your capacity of your color fill, and that might help, especially if your line art's fully connected and it's still not working. That could be what your issue is. But this is a really fun, fast method to color in your piece. You can do different layers and different colors. And I use this sometimes as long as it's my final line art that I'm working with. If I'm not using my final line art, I won't use this because it creates gaps on that flat color layer. However, it's a really quick, fun method to use. Okay, that is my 4 ways I use to color my drawings, and I hope it helped you guys out. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. Of course, subscribe, and thanks so much for watching. Bye!